This is the video you've all been waiting for. Alright. If you have any questions that you feel you want to ask me in this video, before you do so, I would encourage you to go watch my video on YouTube. Type in Pharaoh 76 trillion year history of the black race. Watch parts 1 through 4. And also go watch go on YouTube and type in Pharaoh Blacks Are Extraterrestrials. These two videos should help. And also watch Pharaoh, The Truth About Where Blacks and Whites Come From. These 3 videos shall also help define in detail any questions that I guarantee you may have for me outside of this video. Now, with that being said, this video is about the Anunnaki. Getting straight to the point. The Anunnaki means those who came down from heaven to earth. The Anunnaki beings are extraterrestrials are the extraterrestrial ancestors of the black race. Remember, extraterrestrial. Extra, add on, means to add on. Terra means earth. And strio, like astral plane, the universe. Something extra that added on from the universe. That's it. So if a meteor was to come into the atmosphere of the earth, it would be considered extraterrestrial. So let's not get caught up on the word semantics. You know what I'm saying? Let's not think extraterrestrials are big head, big eye aliens and things like that. Now, with that being said, Anunnaki, they travel the universe on what you would call the mothership. The mothership is what today is called planet Nibiru, or planet X. Now Nibiru, Nibiru. Say it, Nibiru. Sounds like what? The Egyptian god is Neb, and then the Egyptian god Haru, Neb Haru. So our ancestors are the ones who gave the mothership this name based on divine principles, because we know that the Egyptian gods and goddesses were nothing more than what you would call a part of the nature. The nature just means God in its totality. Is yin and yang, male and female aspect is oneness. And the Egyptian gods and goddesses were just principles to describe the qualities of God, which are within ourselves. So they are just principles. For example, Haru is a hero. This is where people actually get the words hero from. Haru. The one of the characteristics of the ancient Egyptian African god Horus, or Haru, was to be a hero, was to be righteous. And Neb-Haru is the coming back of our ancestors for the righteous cause, for uplifting us from the illusion which has been cast on us for the last 6,000 years due to the zodiac sign, as well as the manifestation of the Caucasian and the manipulative games he likes to play on the universe and the children of the universe, which is us. But now getting back on point with Nibiru and Anunnaki. It takes Nibiru, or the mothership, 3,600 years to travel from this 18th galaxy to the 19th galaxy. Now, if you take, like today, like Nibiru has actually been back in our solar system since 2002, May 14th. But now let's just say today, right? Boom. Today. 2015. If you go back 3,000, we just dealing in approximate. Remember, approximate does not mean exact, but it means basically close to exact. Like, for example, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's exact. But if we was dealing with approximate, it would be like 3 or 3.5. So somewhere close. So dealing with approximations here, if you were to go back 3,600 years, because we're just going to say, let's just say Nibiru came back approximately 2015, even though I'm saying 2002. Let's just say it came approximately 2015. Today. 3,600 years ago from today, we were in the year 1585. Let me do my math. We were in 1585 BC. Yes, 1585 BC. So, in the year 1585 BC, we know that the Egyptian civilization was still thriving, but it was on a decline. Now, keep that date in your head. So, we're going to 1585 BC. Now go back another 3,600 years from 1585 BC, and we have 5185 BC. So now we're going to start there. Why? Because even though my personal research dates back further, we're going to deal with the research which is presented to the public, because we're going to use the liar. We're going to use the minimum truth to prove the whole truth in this case. So they say the ancient Sumerian civilization, if you research ancient Sumerian civilization right now on Google, it's going to tell you it started around 5000 BC. Now remember, we just went back 3600 twice. So we just went back the last 2 times the Anunnaki were here. And that would take us to 5185 BC. So that means the last time they came here was 185 years before the alleged Sumerian civilization was founded. Why is this detrimental and important? Because the Sumerians are the ones who spoke of the Anunnaki, which are the Sumerians we know were African or Negroid humanoid beings. Now, the Sumerians are the ones who on their temple walls, and you can go, I want y'all all to go research this. They have a mural or a carving, a stone carving on one of their temple walls of the solar system, but they have 10 planets, even though we know there's 9. But the 10th planet is Nibiru. And the Sumerians are the ones who speak of those who came down from heaven in order to aid us. You can say aid us in the building of our mental, spiritual, and physical faculties and advancement. So now the Sumerians spoke of these people 185 years after these people allegedly came. They were in tune and were outside the Sumerian. You can't say the Sumerians were making things up. They didn't have TV. They didn't have the media. They didn't have music. They didn't have drugs to influence them. Everything we have today in America. So they were dealing exactly with what they seen around them. And they spoke of something which, if mathematics does not lie, numbers don't lie. So if you trace back 2 cycles of the Nibiru cycle, it dates right to the beginning of the Sumerian civilization. So the Sumerians can't be lying. And then let's do another cycle, because we know Egypt was around at the same time. Now we do another cycle. I mean, all through this cycle, you have the great civilizations. The last 2 great civilizations, Sumeria and Kemet or Egypt. And then as the Anunnaki leave, these civilizations fall and decline. Now, why is this detrimental? And what's the coincidence between the Anunnakis leaving and the decline of the Sumerian and Kemetic civilizations and the rise of the Caucasian? I'll tell you exactly why now. Because upon, and we can go into detail, but I just want to give everybody a broad scope of the story. You can go into detail and research Enki and Enlil and everything on your own and put who's who together and Ninti and all that yourself. And Anu and all that yourself. I want to give you the story of our ancestors. As our ancestors who are the Anunnaki left this planet, due to disagreements in technology and things of that nature, you can say, a radio wave or a blast was sent towards the earth. Now, why is this detrimental? Because other extraterrestrials, such as the reptilians, or what you would call a gray. Now, these are 2 different species. You got a reptilian species and you got a gray. And right now, y'all can go on YouTube right now and type in alien species from A to Z. And they got every alien species from A to Z all the way on there. And when you see Caucasoid alien species, know that it's a lie. It's the Caucasian trying to put his face on there. If you don't have melanin, you cannot exist outside this planet. Planet Earth is the only planet in the universe that has a Caucasian on it. Even though black people exist on other planets, white people do not. So don't fall for the lie. But anyway, you can go research that and get real familiar with them yourself. And also, I encourage everybody to go research Arizona Wilder and watch her 23-minute video on reptilians and the 13 bloodline families and how they sacrifice children. But outside of that, getting back on point. So when our ancestors left, radio frequencies that they emitted from planet Nibiru were picked up by other extraterrestrials. Basically, like, it's like picture you outside and you hear a sound, pow, and it catches your attention. These radio frequencies caught the attention of other extraterrestrials. Now, when these now our ancestors is leaving home. It's like your parents. They told you to be good till they return. So basically, they was like, take care of Earth till we return, y'all, and they left. Now, as they leaving, you have a neighbor up the street who notices your parents is leaving, and they come into your house. So you got a neighbor reptilian over here and a neighbor gray. Now they both is like pedophiles, and they coming into our house, and our parents is gone. They not coming back for 3,600 years. They're on a 3,600 year vacation. So now you have these 2 extraterrestrials, these 2 other entities who picked up on this frequency coming from the Anunnaki, seeing, oh shit, Anunnaki left. They left the Earth unprotected. So we in here now. Boom. So now they come into Earth. And they have been using the Caucasian to suppress us on our own planet while they harvest our energies and what you would call the soul for their own personal feeding on another interdimensional. Religion is used to cipher your soul to one of these reptilian entities or great entities in order for them to feed off your energy. But they can't kill you because you are God and you are a light body. So what they do is they extract your energy and then they recycle you because they know the science of reincarnation. You just do not. So now, getting back on point, now that you know who the enemy is and what they're doing, the reptilians and the Greys moved upon this planet, and what they did was they said, damn, we know that black people are the children of God, who are the Anunnaki. So we can't directly transcend on them because we don't want those problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Caucasian, which is a genetic mutation and defective offspring of them, and we're going to manipulate the Caucasian into suppressing the children of God. And in return, we're going to play on the Caucasian's greed for technology and power. So we're going to give the Caucasian technology and we're going to give them power. And in exchange, they must suppress the children of the Anunnaki for us because we can't directly do it. Why? Because for one, we don't exist on this dimension because reptilians exist on the fourth dimension. In the physical shell, this is the third dimension. So they can't directly do it themselves. And for two, they don't want those problems. So what they do is they create the illusion of fear to keep you in the fear that they actually can't institute on you because nothing really will happen to you. So they use the Caucasian as they flunky. And they also use the Caucasian because we know that melanin is a dominant gene. And it's hard, and reptilians are shapeshifters. And it's hard for a reptilian to shapeshift into a black person because our genes are so strong they can't hold our form. So by a Caucasian being weak and being genetically weak, plus they're not 100% human being, they're only 96% human being and 4% animal, it's easier for somebody that's for a reptilian to shapeshift into a weaker humanoid form. It's easier to hold the form. So now with that being said, getting back on point, our parents leave, boom, and the radio frequencies they emit from planet Nibiru attract the attention of the alien Greys and the alien reptilians. And now these two species move on the Earth and they manipulate the Caucasian race and use the Caucasian race as nothing more than a vessel to suppress us. Meanwhile, they harvest all of our natural resources. If you notice, the first place that the Caucasian transgressed on was Africa, and he still has not left Africa alone because these species wanted the natural resources from there for their own personal wants and needs, and they wanted to try to take over the Earth. Now what happened was these species knew that the Anunnaki will return. So just like as the Caucasian writ the Bible, of course the Caucasian put in Revelations the return of God and da-da-da-da. And they also put in there the dragon. Satan is a dragon. He's a lizard. They didn't just make this up because the reptilian is a dragon. And if you notice, if you look at any mythology, they fight dragons. If I'm not talking to nobody who don't know what they talking about. Any real scholar or any real researcher will confirm that. If you read African mythology, they use the word Draco. They say we fight the Draco, the monster that comes out the lake. If anybody who know anybody about Chinese people, they always fight a dragon. Caucasian, European history, castles and dragons. Need I go on? Need I go on? Why does everybody ancestor always confirm that they have a problem with some type of dragonoid entity? Even in a constant, and it's because even our African ancestors said Draco because you have what you call the Draco constellation. And the Draco constellation is actually where the reptilians come from. They live in that star system. And they come from that star system and have came to ours. Now getting back on point. Oh, and before I keep going, I want to explain one more thing. The alien Greys, there's two types. One is actually they don't really contain souls. They're not like how humans, how we are living organisms. Those are like robotoids. So a Grey is like, for example, if you were in a starship, like on Star Trek when they travel light years, if you were in a UFO or a spaceship and you had to travel from one galaxy to the other, this takes light years. So what they would do is they would put you in a container, kind of like a sarcophagus in Egypt when the pharaohs lay in with their hands over their chest. They would put you in a sarcophagus, and the Greys would be like the maintenance men or the cleaners, like a hotel maintenance man. They make sure nothing's wrong with the ship. They make sure everything's right. They make sure your temperature right. They make sure your body's getting minerals and nutrients while you're encased in your little confined cell traveling light years. So the Greys are little robotoids. They're called EBEs. So you have EBTs and EBEs. An EBT is an extra biological, an EBE is an extra biological entity. So an extra biological entity is just a biological entity. It was created biologically to and to be a robotoid. It didn't like come out of somebody's womb. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like how animals give birth out the womb, or we black people give birth out the womb. This was created like a test tube, baby, and is controlled through psychic kinetic ability. So now the Anunnaki, boom, they leave. Other alien species move in. Boom. Manipulate. Use the Caucasian race as a pawn. They're using the 13 bloodline families. 13 royal bloodline families are really ran by reptilians at the head. The Queen of England is really a reptilian. That's why she never shows her hands. And she always wears gloves. It's hard for her to keep her form. And like I said, go look up Arizona Wilder. But also outside of that, these extraterrestrials have been manipulating us and using the Caucasian race as a pawn to suppress us for their secret hidden agenda. Long story short. Now, the Anunnaki have returned. Basically, it's like our parents came home and was like, what the fuck is y'all doing in my house? So now you got the Greys and the reptilians trying to scramble. And if you notice, Caucasians is just so fascinated with trying to run to Mars. And they so far fascinated with trying to go on the ground. And they just so fascinated with trying to leave the earth. That's because our ancestors have returned and it's that time for their ass. Now, if you have a hard time fathoming what I'm saying and fathoming looking up, what I'm saying, go look it up. The national security's #1 threat is an alien invasion. So out of all the things national security is scared of, alien invasion is #1, but yet they try to tell you aliens are not real. Or, as well, you can look this up. There are nuclear weapons around the world are being disabled by UFOs. What kind of UFO would try to disable a nuclear weapon if they didn't care about the humanity? Their children. We are the children of God. The Anunnaki are melanated beings. So now, these are all facts. You can go look up right now. UFOs are disabling nuclear warheads around the planet Earth. And half the earthquakes that go under the ground are not really earthquakes. They are UFOs, what you would call, or Anunnakis, destroying underground bases under the ground. And it's causing UFOs due to the shockwaves being sent from the type of weaponry. Now, that is a long, short version I can give you on Anunnaki. So just running down a full story. Anunnakis came, helped Homo erectus become Homo sapien, left about the last cycle or 2 cycles they left. The last cycle that they left, other extraterrestrials basically seen that the planet Earth was being unprotected, and the children of the Anunnaki were left because their parents was gone, came in, manipulated us. The Anunnaki have returned, said, what the hell are y'all doing to our children? It's a problem. And now we are in that time right now. And we are in a time right now where you need to understand who you are, where you come from. If you don't, and you believe in these false religions that have been set up to sacrifice your soul to the reptilians or the gray extraterrestrials who have been manipulating you behind this. People like the Pope, who they say is a devil, and there's not just making it up, and they have been ciphering your soul to these extraterrestrials. This is the time for you to wake up and save yourself. If not, you will share the fate as the person who you are worshiping. Now, with that being said, let me just throw y'all some extra juice in here. A UFO, so you break it down, cannot be flown. This is to prove that Anunnaki are melanated being, or that to be an extraterrestrial, you have to possess some type of melanin. Because melanin gives you psychic ability. You can look it up right now. It is a law in China and Japan that you cannot be a ninja or a samurai unless you have African blood. Why? Because Africans contain melanin. And you can't be a ninja or a samurai unless you have melanin, because melanin has psychic abilities. It gives you psychic abilities. Now, with that being said, a UFO is flown through telepathy. You control the ship with your mind. Okay? Now, unless you have a certain amount of melanin, you cannot perform a certain level of psychic abilities. Yes, you do have Caucasians performing psychic abilities, but they cannot perform them with the power or at the rate of an African person. This is why they keep you away from your knowledge of self. So now, with that being said, in order to fly a UFO, you would have to have a certain amount of melanin in you, because your level of telepathy would have to be strong enough to control a ship. Now, outside of that, jets and airplanes like on Earth fly through being propelled or propulsion. Being the jet pushes the ship. It is being pushed. So the engines on the back push the ship. So they push. A UFO pulls. It has iron in the middle. In the iron, we know that just like the Earth's core has iron in it, and it conducts electricity, and it helps with gravity to attract it to the sun. A UFO is made with iron in the middle, and it has a gravitator in the middle. And what it does is it locks on to the magnetic frequency of a planet. Because remember I told you the longitude and ley lines are nothing more than like how you in your car, you can call OnStar and know where you at. And they got navigation. For a UFO, the latitude and longitude lines of the Earth is like OnStar. It knows where it's at. So what a UFO does is, in order for it to travel across the universe, it locks onto the longitude and latitude lines of whatever planet it wants, aka the magnetic frequency of that planet. And once the UFO processes the location of this planet, it pulls itself. And this is why a UFO is able to go any direction, because it's not pushing, it's pulling itself. So what it does is it says a jet goes, it pushes. A UFO can stop and say, I want to go up. It locks onto the frequency. It locks onto the location or the magnetic location of wherever it's at, specifically up, and it pulls itself there. So this is how it's able to travel like this, because it pulls itself. It uses gravity to move which way it wants to go versus pushing. An airplane is pushing, so it can't just immediately go back. A UFO is pulling, so if it decides it wants to go this way, it pulls itself this way, or it pulls itself this way. So with that being said, that's a small amount of information on extraterrestrials that I'm willing to give it this time, because I don't want to overload y'all. And that's some juicy information about how UFOs work. And with that being said, family, do your research and have knowledge yourself, and know that you are the children of God excessively. We understand that God is the universe, and God is the highest in the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. These bodies are nothing, these physical bodies are nothing but shells which hold our true selves, which is light bodies. And me as a man, my physical body comes from the black woman, and the black woman's physical body comes from the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki's physical body comes from the universe. And we understand that the universe is God, and the Caucasian's physical body comes from the black person's physical body. So now that we have just pulled rank on who's who and how the order of existence actually goes, now we can actually live according to true law and order, and follow the laws of Mayat and righteousness. So black people, understand that you are divine descendants of your highest self, which is the universe, which is God, and that is the rank and file and order you should fall in. No, I'm not telling you to worship the Anunnaki as a god, because I'm telling you, as your God personally. I'm not telling you to don't go in your room and be like, oh, put up pictures and murals. I'm just telling you to acknowledge where you come from, because our ancestors want us to acknowledge the greatness within us, so that they can communicate with us on our highest frequency. And that is the plan I'm trying to iterate. Do not become a UFO cult. Do not go outside and get to trying to call UFOs for the wrong reasons. All I'm saying is understand who you are, and allow the more evolved entity to guide you to becoming more involved like them. And with that being said, clean up your diet, have an alkaline diet, and clean up your mind, and clean up your beliefs. Because it's like UFOs entities, they are able to put themselves on different dimensions. And these dimensions, if you go watch my video about it, go type in Pharaoh the 7 eyes, and you will see my video about the 7 eyes. These 7 eyes control different dimensions. You got your 2 eyes, your 3rd eye, your 4th eye, your 5th eye, your 6th eye, and your 7th eye. These are all actual eyes. Each eye controls dimensions. The 2 physical eyes can only see the 3rd dimension. The pineal gland is the door to the universe, is the door to the psychic world. Once you hit here, now you can see the 4th dimension through the 4th eye, the 5th dimension through the 5th eye, the 6th dimension through the 6th eye, and the 7th dimension through the 7th eye. You have entities and ghosts, and not even ghosts, but spirits, and you have actual ships that exist and vibrate on a certain frequency, just like certain spectrums of light. You can't see certain spectrums of light with your physical eye, because it vibrates on another dimension. These entities and objects vibrate on certain spectrums of light that your 2 eyes can't pick up. So you got to pick them up with your other eyes, and they might be trying to contact you, but it's equivalent to your cell phone being cut off. If your brain is not in tune with the universe, and you are a religious person, or you have a narrow mind, this is your biological computer. You're not getting the text message. Your phone is cut off. So how can your ancestors contact you and guide you if you're not even open to receive the message? So with that being said, black people, understand who you are, where you come from. And everything I'm saying, I have shown and proved in my video. You can go on YouTube and type in Pharaoh Blacks Are Extraterrestrials. You can also type in Pharaoh 76 trillion year of the history of the black race. And with that being said, black people, let's make that jump from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension. Clean up your diet so that your carbon 12 melanin can successfully remanifest itself as carbon 7. And with that being said, peace.